All right, so my name is Anita Cegers-Coleman. I'm a seventh grade coding block and app creation teacher at Ruth Doyle Middle School in Conway, Arkansas. And my class is mainly a 7-week technology skills class, but through sharing my experiences as a teacher intern with my students, we've had more discussions about the real world than when simply creating apps or completing coding assignments. Strive has impacted my classroom because I now encourage my students to research and consider careers in STEM related fields as part of their class assignments. My assignment was with Central Arkansas Water as well. I worked with Raven Lawson, who is the Watershed Protection Manager. And one thing I really appreciated about my assignment is that it was a virtual placement. So I had a flexible schedule. The days and the hours were flexible so that I could still get everything done. Raven and I had meetings via Microsoft Teams and also telephone meetings, as well as in-person meetings from time to time. I learned a whole lot about the watershed. I'm more of an indoors type person, but I actually did have some opportunities to go to various Central Arkansas water facilities and see some things in person. I was able to go on interviews, one in particular at a landowner's home with some other neighbors in that area. And I was able to interview multiple people over the phone to discuss concerns and needs about their private property so that gaps could be bridged between them and Central Arkansas Water. I learned about controlled and prescribed burns throughout all my travels throughout the years on different interstates. I'd see all these trees, and now I have a better eye for when a set of trees has been treated with a controlled burn, for example. And those were some really interesting things. I also learned that as I was growing up, I would often hear Smokey the Bear say, only you can prevent forest fires. But now, because of controlled burns, only you can prevent wildfires. And that's been a slogan since about 2001. Another opportunity I had was to attend a meeting with the Arkansas Forestry Division, where men who are typically outside working with trees, characterizing them in all different ways, were in a meeting with iPads using software where they could pinpoint every single tree that was out there and tell its different characteristics. So being a teacher who uses technology mainly, I thought that was really fascinating to see how people who work outdoors in forest and nature and all of that could also use software to help them with their jobs. Oops, I clicked something, sorry. I had to do lots of research. Since I live in Conway, I researched our local water company as well as others around the state and even different ones around the country to get some ideas about things that Central Arkansas's watershed could do as well. I had to create different PowerPoint presentations, and we went on various tours. Jane Hurley actually was my tour guide for several of those locations. And we even went to this water plant that's listed, or excuse me, water tower that's listed here. And I saw this on a Facebook post. It talked about how many school buses could be equivalent to the amount of water that that tower could hold. And because of that, Jane and I arranged to have a Zoom meeting that ended up being my first ever virtual field trip with my students. So she and I think Brian were able to talk to my students, and my students were able to ask questions, and they were being able to also see right inside this tower. And Jane sent this website address that we could go to see live footage of everybody who was driving on, I think, I-430 at that time. So that was pretty fascinating. I had to create a brochure in Publisher and one in Canva. And On this last slide, I'm talking more about things in my classroom. So we use Schoology as our learning management system. And this is
Give you
a
about a
page.
1 minute warning, Anita.
Okay, this is a page from my students' actual class. They do typing assignments for the first 10 minutes just to warm up. But on Mondays and Wednesdays, they practice using the computer programming language called Python using Codesters. On Mondays and Wednesdays, they do that. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, that's when they do their app creation assignments. And then on Fridays, because of Strive, I've started implementing career assignments for them to do. So we've done activities from these different website links that I've included, and those help them have more of a buy-in to our career discussions. This next picture is taken from the pre-test. It's just one of the questions about how comfortable are you in using STEM skills in coding class. And this is the same question from the post-test results. And we had an improvement on how comfortable they were with the skills. And one of the main projects that they create for the class is a career brochure. And so from our different discussions and from their research, they learn about what education is required and where they may have to live to do a particular job. This student wants to be an environmental engineer. She also listed some tasks and skills and her wages and salary. So that's a sample of one student's brochure, part of what she submitted. So that's basically what I had to share for today.
Thank you so much, Anita.
You're welcome.
And as you can see, all placements are not the same. They can be extremely different, and we take into consideration both what the local partners have available and requests and strengths of teachers, and we try to just make it the most productive opportunity we can. As long as the Strive goals are met, we're pretty flexible to do a lot of different types of pairings with teachers and businesses. So Anita's last summer was a mostly virtual working from home setup. And while that's not the norm, that was something that worked very well. And we had experience, actually, Anita participated in 2020 as well, when we had all virtual interviews. And so I had a large amount of experience with and confidence in her drive. And so we were very happy to make that work with someone that we had, a partnership with already. What questions do we have for Anita? Anita, looks like there's some stuff in the chat. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm. Career brochure is great. I love to implement this in my classroom as well. I love the polling of the comfort level. Mm-hmm.
Seems like there's a request to share a career brochure rubric.
Okay.
Anita, I'm just so impressed. I really I'm reflecting back on my high school years, and I can tell you I had a vague desire to be an engineer. I had no idea what type, and I had no idea what I'd be doing. And I certainly didn't think I was going to spend 10 years working in cosmetics, but I have. And so I think you're really giving your students such a leg up by this type of program. So bravo. I think that's awesome.
Thank you.